Considering how many franchises Nintendo has created over their 4-decade run in the gaming industry, it's inevitable that some would slip through the cracks. One of those franchises for me was Pikmin. You guys remember Pikmin, right? Miyamoto's experiment on the GameCube featuring the titular Pikmin creatures who help you solve puzzles, fight enemies, and collect things? Well, if you don't remember, you're not alone. This series was never considered one of Nintendo's heavy hitters in terms of sales, partly due to being introduced on one of Nintendo's worst-selling consoles. But all things considered, the first game was a moderate success, leading to 2 sequels, multiple ports, spin-offs, and another upcoming sequel planned for launch sometime this year. Of course, Pikmin's success story is a lot more subtle than some of Nintendo's other franchises. Take Nintendo's newest big franchise, Splatoon. A massive breakout hit that similarly spawned 2 sequels, albeit in a much shorter period of time, and sold a lot more copies. Do the math. With these numbers in mind, it's great to see that this series is still getting love from the big end today, and as I mentioned before, that can probably be attributed to the dedication of Nintendo legend Shigeru Miyamoto, who after handing over direction of the Mario and Zelda series to other teams, created Pikmin and is still working on it today. Of course, as I mentioned before, this was never a series I really got into. I knew Olimar from Smash, and I got Pikmin 3 for free in that Mario Kart 8 promotion for the Wii U, but the series never grabbed my attention. I saw the appeal, no doubt. The colors, the music, the designs. I just didn't feel like it was for me. However, with the surprise announcement of Pikmin 4 in the September 2022 Direct, and all of the hype from series fans, I felt like it was probably time to finally give this series a try. Is it a hidden gem in the Nintendo pantheon of games, or is it like I thought before, just not for me? So I ordered Pikmin 3 Deluxe over Black Friday weekend, getting it in not the original case, very cool. It took me a while to get to the game. There was a certain new game I was in the middle of when I bought it, but the week before Christmas, just on a whim, I decided to play Pikmin 3. Here's how that went. So this game follows the story of Kopai, an alien planet on the brink of collapse. Basically, the residents of Kopai ate all their food without producing any more, and now it's all gone. This is why gluttony is a sin, guys. Read the Bible. Anyways, in order to save their planet, the Kopaites conducted a survey of planets looking for fruit, their food source, and found PNF-404, or Earth. This is where our main characters come in. Tasked with recovering fruit and bringing it back home, the engineer Alf, the botanist Brittany, and the captain Charlie are sent to PNF-404. But uh-oh! As their ship approaches the planet, an accident occurs. The ship crashes, and our 3 protagonists get separated on the planet below. This is where we are introduced to the Pikmin, who quickly prove themselves to be helpful to our heroes on their journey to reunite and complete their mission. So first of all, I really like this setup. It's a bit on the simple side, but that simplicity works to the game's benefit. Pikmin 3 isn't about being a chosen hero, taking on a big bad villain, being the strongest, or even being strong at all. It's about 3 ordinary, hardworking people who are just trying to get back home and save their planet. Big stakes, but not too complex or fantastical to where it'll fly over your head. It's just enough to give you a good reason for why you're doing what you're doing in the game. Speaking of the game, let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay loop. The Pikmin series sees you controlling a captain who commands an army of Pikmin. As you explore each of the maps, your Pikmin will be available for you to throw at, well, pretty much anything. See an enemy? Throw your Pikmin at it. See a collectible? Throw your Pikmin at it. Any other tasks that need to get done? Yeah, Pikmin will do that too. Basically, your Pikmin are going to be doing all of the work for you, and it's your job as their leader to determine the most time-efficient way to divide the tasks between them. Because time efficiency is really important here. You don't get to just roam around each map for as long as you want. The game is divided into day cycles that last about 20 minutes each, and any tasks that you don't complete or items you don't collect will have to wait until the next day. Also, any Pikmin that you aren't currently controlling, or who aren't near your ship, by the end of the day will get eaten up by their predators and be lost overnight. This angle really adds to that motivation I was talking about earlier. What if you find a fruit, but the sun is already starting to set? Do you want to go ahead and send your Pikmin to bring the fruit back to the ship and risk losing them if they can't make it? What if you're so close to defeating a boss, but you're already getting the 10-second timer to end the day? Do you keep on the offensive, or do you call back your remaining Pikmin and finish it up tomorrow? Planning is the name of the game here, and since you can split up your 3 captains, you not only have to worry about what your Pikmin are supposed to do, but where your captains are supposed to go, and which types of Pikmin they'll need to complete the tasks you're sending them to do. Beyond this, you also have to worry about your food supply. See, not only did the ship crash split up Alf, Brittany, and Charlie, it also knocked out almost all of their fruit juice reserves. So you're not just collecting fruit to save Kopai, but to keep your team from starving. Every in-game day burns through 1 container of juice, and if you run out of food, it's game over. Just like real life. Anyways, that was a super quick rundown of the basics of Pikmin gameplay, or at least what I can remember after my first playthrough. I'm sure series veterans will be able to point out any important details I missed. If you haven't played a Pikmin game, I'm sure all of these factors together may seem overwhelming, but the game does a phenomenal job of easing you into all of its mechanics. For example, because the game starts with our captains being separated, you as the player start as just one captain and are walked through the basic mechanics of throwing Pikmin, calling Pikmin, attacking with Pikmin, etc. Once you've learned these basics, from there you're able to enter the day cycle, rescue your second and third captains, and begin learning how to multitask and master all the skills you've learned. Okay, enough of the long explanations. Now that I've proved I know how to play Pikmin, how did I actually feel about the game? Well, I liked it. As I said before, the game was super easy to get into, and once I got into the rhythm of the game, I realized it was something special. It's an awesome feeling when you're able to successfully plan your day out and execute it perfectly. And though it can be disheartening when things don't go according to plan, say if an enemy attacks one of the captains you sent to the other side of the map, the game is forgiving enough in allowing you to take a step back and regroup, and that gameplay loop is so addicting that I devoted all of my free time to learning how to improve at it. It also helps that the game controls very well. Your cursor for throwing Pikmin always follows the movement of your captain, meaning you should always be able to quickly aim onto your target. And if that's not enough for you, there's also a lock-on feature that allows you to focus on a certain objective without having to aim at it. This is a godsend, especially if you aren't using the arguably more accurate motion control aiming. However, if you want, you also have the charge option available, which sends all of one Pikmin type at an objective at once with just the push of a button. These 3 options for controlling your Pikmin are easy to understand and to get the hang of, and the game is engaging enough to where you'll actually want to master them. And that note is as good as anywhere else to discuss the question, why did this game grab me now and not when I played it years ago? Well, while I don't think it was a major factor, I definitely feel like the structure of Pikmin benefits more from being on a handheld. Pikmin 3 wasn't just stuck in my room. I could play it in my living room, while lying in bed, or I could take it to work and play it during breaks. And by having those 20-minute day timers, the game had a built-in measure of how I was progressing in the game during those short bursts of gameplay. After every completed day, the game gives a progress report showing how many Pikmin you gained or lost, and how many fruits and items you've collected. One of the captains provides a data log at the end of each day, which provides a little bit of extra context to the story and helps to display each character's personality. However, all of this stuff was present in the Wii U version, so it's probably unfair to say that this is what hooked me. No, I think the main reason that Pikmin grabbed me this time, and not before, is because I just made time for it. I know, sounds simple, but when I tried Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, it wasn't really a priority. Like I mentioned before, I got it with the Mario Kart 8 promotion on Club Nintendo because I already had Wind Waker HD, and even though I liked what I played, it was never the game I wanted to play. So the second things got a little challenging, I dropped it and went back to playing Mario Kart. This time was different. I decided that week that I started Pikmin 3 would be dedicated to playing Pikmin 3. And when I did, something magical happened. Not only did I realize that the game was a lot more accessible than I thought in my first playthrough, not only did I find myself actually enjoying the game, I think I fell in love. That's right, I'm not just a Pikmin enjoyer, I am a full-on Pikmin fan. And that's mainly based off the gameplay. I haven't gotten into other aspects yet, like the music. It's okay. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It's very peaceful and comforting and fits the aesthetic of the game perfectly. It's just that most of the music isn't very memorable in my opinion. There are some exceptions. The Garden of Hope theme has been stuck in my head on and off since my first playthrough, and the themes that play at the end of the day do a phenomenal job of setting that tone of being lost in space. Speaking of aesthetics, I'm surprised I didn't even think to mention it yet, but this game is pretty. The game is colorful and fun, the character designs are cute, and the environments are vibrant and detailed, to a level you don't see in a lot of Nintendo games. The focus on more realistic looking environments helps with the feel of this game, as well as its theme. This is Earth, not some fictional planet, so when you see something like the different fruits, it looks familiar, like you're exploring the real world from an up-close point of view. Anyways, let's get back to the story. It's pretty short, so the summary will be pretty quick, but if you're someone like me who wants to play Pikmin 3 before Pikmin 4 comes out and you don't want to be spoiled on how it ends, go ahead and skip to the time on your screen here. Ready? Here we go. So after Alf, Brittany, and Charlie reunite, their next goal is to find their cosmic drive key, a part of their ship that they need to return home. It turns out that the key was already picked up by Olimar, the main character from the first game, so our heroes start following his trail. Eventually they bump into Louie, Olimar's partner from Pikmin 2, who proves to be a bit of a nuisance, stealing all of your fruit juice supply and dragging you into a boss fight. But eventually he leads you to Olimar's last known location, the formidable oak. This is where we find Olimar, taken captive by a mysterious golden creature called the Plasm Wraith, who chases you through a series of obstacles as you try to guide Olimar to safety. Eventually, you're able to defeat the Wraith, save Olimar, get the cosmic drive key, and bring everyone back home to safety. Yeah, so the story isn't anything crazy, but it works to give context to the game. Everything you're doing isn't just for the sake of gameplay. There's actual stakes and an end goal in mind. None of the story beats will blow your mind, sure, but they're effective in giving purpose to your journey. It's also just cool to see Pikmin 3 acknowledge and include Olimar and Louie in the story, even though we have new playable characters in this game. After you beat the game, there's one final report showing how many total Pikmin you collected and lost, how many fruits you gathered, and how many in-game days it took you to get to the end. Because the game is so short, this encourages you to play through again and improve, whether it's by getting all the collectibles, or by conserving your Pikmin better, or even just by improving on your playtime. There's no wrong answer, and you can do all three or just one or two if you want. Now on to the bonus content. The game recommends that you hold off on this until you progress into the story, and there are even some modes that are locked until you reach a certain point in the story. This is because all of these modes build off of what you'll learn during your playthrough and push your skills at the game. First of all, there's the side games. These consist of goals like collecting all the fruits on the map, defeating all the enemies, or even having a boss rush mode. Some of these maps were DLC in the Wii U version, but in Pikmin 3 Deluxe, all maps are available in the base game. There's also Bingo Battle, which involves you and another player racing to complete certain objectives to get bingo first. Now, I'll be honest and say that I haven't had a chance to try these modes yet, but it's more Pikmin 3, and I'm sure it'll be worth my time, if I can ever find any. What I did try was the two side story modes, which are exclusive to the Switch version. These feature Olimar and Louie, the first one showing what they were doing during the events of Pikmin 3, and the second being what happened after. These were pretty fun, basically being bite-sized or remixed versions of the maps from the main campaign where you have set objectives to complete in a certain amount of time. The first story sticks to finding treasure and fruit, but the second story mixes it up a little, tasking you to collect fruit or defeat enemies or bosses, etc. These were great for what they were, and it was nice to get to play as Olimar since I haven't played Pikmin 1 or 2, but this definitely didn't grab me in the same way as the main campaign. I think that was by design. This is just a side mode made for a port of a Wii U game, and I imagine that the Pikmin team was already working on Pikmin 4 by the time this came out, so I could understand if this mode wasn't a huge priority for them. You are getting exactly what was promised with this mode, so no complaints from me. So that was my journey through Pikmin 3 Deluxe. I am genuinely surprised by how much I enjoyed this game. I didn't expect to hate it, of course, but this game was so fun and so charming that it made a Pikmin fan out of me. I'm not only open to playing Pikmin 4, I want to play it and I'm excited for it to come out. This probably won't be the last time I play Pikmin before then. I'll probably play through this game a few more times, and I may even try to give the first two games a try, if I can afford it. Whatever the case may be, I now totally get the hype behind Pikmin, or at least behind Pikmin 3. It's a great game, and an easy recommendation from me. Do I have any criticisms? Well, I really wish I didn't get this in the used GameStop case. I mean, I know that's not Nintendo's fault, but this is just sad.